Oh, wait. So I'm on Twitch now. Are you going to be like, is there a window that pops up that says, come on
Yeah, I do invite
board?
you. I did invite you, but I'm waiting for you to accept. But
I don't know where it's at on my Twitch.
okay, let me. All right, here we
Oh, wait.
go.
I see it. I see it. Hold
You
on.
see it?
Yeah.
I gotta quit the game. I
And
can
then I have
still
to
hear
hit
the music. There we
continue.
go.
And then,
And then I
okay.
need to
Now we
actually
have to see if
arrange.
my camera's working. Hold on. Hold on.
I'm gonna move my window, you guys. Come on. All right, there. I moved
Okay.
my
Hold on.
window.
Let me see.
Let me
Because
put.
sometimes my HD camera is really great, and sometimes it's like,
Well,
maybe don't.
hey,
Maybe
welcome,
don't use
Loud
it.
Laura. Reporting in for book club. Welcome.
Okay, hold on. Internal
I didn't think
speakers.
there were a lot of people who were only about book club, but I do
I
appreciate it. I
mean,
mean, half of me is like, should we just do book club on Discord? But I feel like we have
eh,
more
I
audience when we
like
do it
Twitch. It
here.
makes me feel like I'm cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see if this works. I'm trying to change my camera.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. I just can't tell what's better
Okay.
visually. What I think that's good. Okay, continue. Join backstage.
Okay.
Okay.
I ordered some
Oh
canned.
no, it's like echo. How do I fix that
No,
again?
no, I fix it. I fix it on my end. It's okay. You
Okay.
look okay. Let me put you on stream and
Okay.
then turn the mic off. You look great. I love your hair.
Thank you.
Let me see
Should I
if.
have headphones on or no?
I mean, I think you sound fine. I'm just gonna make your camera a little bit smaller to look at that. If I had a background that looked pretty decent, we would be really in. But you know what? This is fine. You guys get what you
I
get. Okay?
mean, it's it's always like here. I'm gonna turn this up a bit so I can hear you.
Yeah, no worries. You get all set, and then
Okay.
we'll start the book club, just so I know where
Yeah, I just
to edit.
you can hear my Yeti, right?
Yeah, you sound good.
Testing 1 2.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
cool.
in your Yeti. You have to get really close to that thing, but
I'm
you are
finally
set.
getting. Oh, do I need to get closer?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, I'll do that. Welcome to our ASMR channel. I do this, and then I do art fabulous book club, which I love and always makes me happy. It's my endorphin dopamine kick for the month. But also I run a horror film review show that's all women. It's Jenna, ex film star, but still currently OnlyFans star Jenna Hayes and Renee Ruin, who's like this like super famous goth in Australia. And we have a show called The Night Shift, and we were doing it once a month where we're reviewing, female led, female written, female directed horror films or just horror films with a female perspective. And then it got so popular and we loved it so much. Now we're doing it twice a month.
That's
But it's like
amazing.
but it's like YouTube Live, so I have to remember, okay, that's a different setup than what we have here. But also, and of course, like all of this is for fun. Nothing's being
Of
paid. There's
course.
no
It's
rent
all
being
fun.
paid from this. But it's almost more fun that way, because then it's like I'm not beholden to anyone as far as like overlords.
No, you do.
But also, it's just fun because I'm also trying very hard to get into the horror film genre as a paid writer. And I do write horror games, immersive horror games that are like tabletop type stuff, like murder, like Hunt a Killer. But yeah, but also I just want to network with more creative women. And Felicia, I want you to like be on the show at some point. So I'm gonna
That'd be
try to
fun.
like
Yeah.
figure. I mean, I know you don't like scary movies. However,
Well, I won't
however,
watch one for you. I won't do it. I had to
no,
turn
no,
down
no.
like
I feel like
several interviews during the third
I,
eye press, and I'm just like, no, I don't have anything to talk about in this area.
well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna figure out how to put you in it. Here's the thing:
Well, thank you.
whenever I do anything, I try to signal boost all my friends and all their stuff. So I'm always like, okay, how can I get these people I really love promoted on a thing I already do? But also, how can I get these people I love to meet each other?
I
Because
know. It's really fun
our
when you
Venn
have.
diagram groups don't always merge, and so like my horror film group is not necessarily geek group.
Well,
So it's like,
Bonnie, let's do the start of the Felicitations book club, and then we'll go into you being able to tell everybody about that thing, so we get it on the podcast. Okay, so I'm gonna clap.
oh, okay, oh, okay.
Welcome to Felicitations book club, everybody. It's me and Bonnie Burton. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi.
I am so excited to be here for our, I guess, November pick. Well, it was October pick, but it's now a November pick because we're in November, but I was out of town. I continue to be out of town all of November. but it'll get better. Bonnie, how have you been?
I've been okay. Got my hair done, redid. I
Yeah.
went gray for a while, or I tried to incorporate gray,
I
and then
think
I freaked out a little.
you look so pretty right now. So it's kind of like
Well,
you have
thank
some gray, but
you.
is it like a
Yeah,
silver and
it's like
purple?
yeah, it's like some blue silver. It's like old. It's like elder goth mermaid, elmer. Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
I
I don't know. I don't know what to call
love
it.
it. And your bangs, did you just get those cut? Because they're like so
Yes. Yeah, I know they're
cute.
even. They don't look like I tried to do them myself on a lot of Adderall. Yeah, it's I got them done. Sarah Marie is like my hairdresser, but she also works with a lot of our mutual friends.
Hmm.
But I go to her salon like every few months or so. And I think I texted her a couple weeks ago. I'm like, "Can you fit me in soon? Because I'm starting to feel like old hag. Like I feel like unmarked grave hot, not open casket hot." So I
No,
was like,
no, no,
I
no.
need,
That is a
I
horrible
need some help.
analogy.
Yeah, I need some help. And also, I can't be left to my own devices, or else I'll start doing weird shit to my hair. I'll, cut it crooked, or I'll try like some hair dye that I've never used before. It's just I can't be
Over COVID,
trusted.
I dyed my hair pink, and I came out of the bathroom thinking my daughter, who loves pink, would love it, and she looked at me and was like, "Change it back!" and ran screaming away from me.
By
So
the way,
it
I
wasn't a hit.
cannot wait. I can't wait till your lovely child starts podcasting, like when she gets the green light to do that as an adult. Because
18.
just the stories you tell of her, commentary, like your Instagram shorts and YouTube shorts of like, this is what my child said. And this is like the one I love the most, I think was the most recent when you came back from, doing press. And all these
Oh my
chalk
gosh.
drawings
Yes.
of yourself, but what crossed out
Yeah.
over and over and over and
Like
over
no
on the
dogs
sidewalk.
allowed. Like no moms allowed. Yeah, she really was
I was like,
sharing
oof.
her feelings.
I mean, if anything, you're creating an artist, you're creating a writer to be, you're creating someone who's going to use all that pain, all that suffering. I'm telling this in jest because you're a great mom.
No,
But
no,
like,
no. It's true. Everybody, listen, no matter how carefully you raise your kid, too liberally, they're mad at you for not being more disciplined. Too more disciplined, they're mad at you for not being more liberal. It's like you can't win. You just have to follow your heart. And I,
don't know what your daughter's gonna actually have anything to rebel against because you're cool.
well,
So
that's
she,
the
she's gonna
problem.
go like,
Is she's gonna have to go so far? She'll be like, what
yeah.
am I gonna? So I need to be more disciplinarian so that she thinks that going out a little too late is so rebellious. I'm like, I need to set some parameters. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of my friends who are very cool who have had kids, because I never went that route. So I'm the cool auntie, I'm the cool friend, mom's friend, dad's friend. Like I'm not a mom. Like the only mom thing I did was have a dog I loved for 17 years. And I consider
So
that
cute.
parenting. Sophie, oh God bless. But here's the thing, like I don't know how to be a mom. And also I come from we both come from very weird childhoods and very odd
And we turned out
parenting.
really cool. So it just goes to show you everyone's
We're fine.
resilient. They'll make it through. They'll be who they
No,
need to be.
I do have to confess something because I don't think my parents are gonna watch this. They're starting to get more and more tech savvy, so I'm always like, uh-oh. And they're not on Instagram yet, but I made a conscious decision to come out as ADHD, which I know doesn't sound like a big deal to a lot of people listening or watching, but for me it's huge because I only got recently diagnosed. I'm an adult woman who's never been diagnosed, but I've had it my whole life. I just didn't know it was a thing, and I didn't know adults could get it, and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm finally, but my therapist and friends and support, like friends that are in that kind of ADHD diagram or whatever, they're like, sometimes if you put that hashtag on your social, it lets other people know that you're like them and you can share stories or share advice or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not a doctor, but sure. So I put that up there. And then I was like, you know what? I might as well put up that I'm bi. And so I did hashtag bi with the flag. And I'm like, oh crap. So then I had like double anxiety because I was like, because I'm out, but I come from a family of don't ask, don't tell. Like they love me, but I don't
So are they
show up
more
at
upset at
Christmas.
you for being bi or ADHD? Like, are they gonna?
Well, I come from a long line of family members who don't really believe in mental illness as a thing. Like it's like
Oh.
a rich person thing, you know what I mean? Like therapies for rich people that have no friends to talk to, like that kind of thing. And I was like, well, I'm clearly ADHD, but also I think some of my younger nephews and nieces are too, but they just haven't been, diagnosed or
I
whatever.
mean, I think that I have not been diagnosed, but considering the way that I certainly wasn't as a child, I don't think, But like I
Okay.
think modern living and the internet and how I've trained my brain to be multitasking and online and thinking about 50 things, I might have given it myself it, or I've developed it as an adult because I can't handle all the input, all the sensory input is too much for me.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
it's something
I
I
mean, it's
should
lots of
definitely
different.
investigate.
I mean, it's a lot of different things. I mean, I'm obviously show a lot of symptoms just in the last 5 minutes. Like I'm talking too fast. I'm too excited. I'm fidgety. I interrupted you like 5 times already.
I interrupt everybody. I walk away from every conversation, Bonnie, thinking, why did you interrupt them so much? Why didn't you let them
Can I
talk?
tell you, I just had brunch with some of our mutual friends last week. I hadn't seen them in a while, and they're really special to me, and I care about them a lot. But then I was also feeling a little awkward because I felt like I don't know how to be normal. I don't know how to talk normal since COVID because I'm kind of overly hyper excited to see everyone at all times. Like I make best friends with every Lyft driver. It's like that kind of Midwest like hyperness.
Oh, God.
And I was as soon as I left the brunch, I sent all these texts like my ADHD apology tour, which I do every time I see a friend. Like I saw our mutual friend Amber Benson a couple weeks ago. We went to Republic of Pie and caught up, and
Amazing.
she's amazing. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. I just haven't seen her in forever. But she's promoting Slayers, the new
I know,
Buffy.
we're like audible
podcast thing.
friends. They got released a week after, and they've been advertising like kind of
I know,
tangentially, and I
it's
think
so
that's
funny
great.
because it was like, and it was also during the actor strike, right? So she couldn't say anything. You couldn't say anything about Third Eye. And
No,
I was
I
like,
can. You can. She couldn't.
Oh, you can?
She couldn't
okay.
because I would assume she couldn't because her project is attached to a struck IP, but I could because mine's original
Oh,
IP that I created. So
okay.
because it's a non-struck agreement for making
Yeah.
an audio project, I could talk about Third Eye all I wanted, but she probably couldn't because it's a struck property associated with
I
struck
mean, I was like,
IP.
I mean, and that was kind of like with the writer strike too. I had so many writer friends that are like, I have a book and a comic coming out. I want it signal boosted, but I can't do anything. So I was like, okay, well, just let me know as soon as possible. Cause I signal boost everybody because I want everyone to be super successful so I can just kind of join their entourage.
Oh.
But anyway, I was so glad to see her, but I also sent her an apology saying, I'm so sorry I talk so fast, blah, blah. And I realized, this is just me getting used to ADHD where, Gen Z and millennials, they know everything. So they already, and Gen Alpha, I think that's what we're calling.
Is that what new people are?
Gen Z is Gen Alpha now. Yeah. So
Where'd you
I
read
think your
that,
child-
Bonnie? Oh no, I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, so I saw it on Insta a few times, and 2 drag queens mentioned it. So I don't know how factual that is.
Oh, it
but
is
that's
named
my-
after Alpha. Generation Alpha is the first to be born entirely in 21st century and the third millennia. What is
Yep.
Gen Alpha?
So-
Approximately 13 years or younger. So my daughter,
Yeah, Alpha.
their earliest birth year is considered 2010. So that's my daughter. She's a Gen Alpha.
Yeah. Gen Alpha. I know it's great too because it sounds like an anime or anime manga
It does sound really
kind
cool.
of title, which I love. But the Gen Zers and the millennials, all the ones I follow on Insta and TikTok and wherever, they all understand mental health really well, and they understand sexuality and gender fluidity and spectrumism and all that stuff.
Yeah, they
so
do.
I'm
They're
like
they're very socially adept.
Yeah, I'm like learning from the kids. And so when I go back for Christmas and I have to explain myself, so I'll have to explain, luckily not the writer strike or actor strike, because that was horrible during July, having to explain that to people who don't understand in the Midwest.
Yeah.
But like ADHD and mental health and, and I'm not going to shove it in their face. Like I don't shove being gay in their face. I just say I'm queer and leave it at that. And if they want to know more, they know where to find me, but I don't like wrap myself in a rainbow flag and head out to Christmas because that's...
Bonnie, I'm reading an
Anyway.
article on New York Times that says Gen Alpha is here. Can you understand their slang? And here is
Oh God.
Here is a catchy parody song making the rounds on TikTok as a key to the slang's rising popularity. Here are the lyrics. Sticking out your yacht for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. You're so phantom
God.
tax. I want to be your Sigma. A Rizzler, according to 10-year-old Malcolm, is a good person. Having Riz is when you have good game. Being a Rizzler is like when you're a pro at flirting with people. So a Rizzler. And gyat is a butt. Okay? So sticking out your butt for the Rizzler, for the flirt guy.
Okay. Is this on Duolingo? Can I learn it there?
No, skibbity is skibbity toilet. Everybody knows that who follows me because I found that months before the New York Times did.
Wait, what is skippity what?
Skibbity toilet. It's a guy who pops his head out of the toilet bowl and he sings skibbity. It's just watch it. It's very strange.
It's a thing, but it's not something we're supposed to be doing ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
Phantom Tax refers to Phantom, a popular Twitch streamer on. I don't know who that person is, Phantom. And when people are eating in Phantom's presence, he insists they share some of his food with him. That's the Phantom tax. And Sigma has something to do with wolves. All right?
Oh, okay. That's the only one I want to know about is the wolf.
All right.
I just want wolf slang.
So
wolf slang is it.
Sticking out your gut for the Rizzler, sticking out your butt for the guy who flirts a lot. You're so skibbity, which means you're so weird, I guess, because Skibbity Toilet is very strange.
Like lyrics of a 90s hip hop song.
Yeah, you're so Phantom tax, which is Phantom the streamer who takes people's food. I just want to be your Sigma, which I guess would be a wolf relationship. Okay.
Sounds like a frat. Okay. Well, I guess I got some learning to do before Christmas time. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also, it's like I'm always worried I'm the Steve Buscemi, animated gif of him with a backpack going into high school going, hello, fellow kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel. And I don't want to be like my dad who was trying to I don't know if he was trying or if he was low key trolling me about all the goth bands I listened to because he used to call Nine Inch Nails that Toenails band. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he was trying or if he was just kind of mocking me. So but I don't want to be that. I don't want to be like canceled by my own younger members of my family by trying to sound cool. I just
Also,
got them to like me.
Don't try it. You can't be cool.
They just like me because they know I know drag queens. And before that, they knew we both watched like the same beauty influencers and like weird influencers on TikTok. And also I knew all the TikTok dances, but I did not do them, but I know them. So like I got in kind of in the cool aunt zone, but I don't want to be like pivoted into like horrible, dorky, dumb, clueless aunt.
Yeah, don't be like, hey kids. Yeah, don't do that. I
don't want to do that.
So anyway, that is, and I will say that. So I guess Gen Z is up to 2010. So Gen Z is up to 14 and up are Gen Z, and Gen Alpha is my kid.
Yeah. Sure.
All right.
And I mean that may change later on. I mean, like millennialism, I thought was interesting because it spans a very long. I thought it was very wide berth of who's millennial because a lot of them are talking about being kids in 90s, but I was in college in the 90s, but I still consumed kids stuff. So I was like, I was kablam, even though I was in college. You know what I mean? Like I watched 90s content because I was.
There's nothing wrong with This is what I feel. There's nothing wrong with keeping in touch with younger generation's information and absorbing it and try to incorporate it into your creativity. There's another thing of trying to either pander or trying to adopt a younger generation's stuff completely to be able to fit in. That's cringe, okay?
It's also we're creators of YA. We're creators of kids content. So like I write content. I write primarily kids books.
So you need to know about this.
But I also need to know not to write something that's going to be outdated the minute I write it.
Yeah.
Like I still am contemplating whether or not I should do a new version of Girls Against Girls, my anti-bullying book for
I think you should because I would need to.
Because I wrote it in 2009 and like the internet like chapter is very quaint. Like it's very.
You should 100% update it because I would love to like read it for my daughter because I know she's only 6 and doesn't have a problem in her school with bullying, which by the way a lot of kids even that age have a problem with. But I know that
it starts earlier and earlier. Actually, the book I wrote is very timeless until you get to the tech section, but everything else is timeless. And also I tried to write a book that showed not to turn into a bully while you're fighting bullies because that's very easy to do, fight fire with fire, which is not necessarily the best tactic. But I don't know, we'll see. But to answer your question 5 hours ago, I'm doing all right. I'm still looking for full-time work. A lot of my contract positions as a game writer, I was writing a couple games for like Beatles and Grimm, but and Luminosity Blue, I just finished one for them. So a lot of my contracts are ending, and I'm like, oh god, I gotta find more work.
I know.
And it's just piecing together the quilt that is the hustle gig economy of me paying rent, which is just a bunch of different ways to make money, and then everyone telling me I need more passive income, which is just royalties and stuff. And I'm like,
I mean, how are you supposed to do that? That'd be great. Let's do that. Like, I don't have that.
Do that.
I have like $10 residuals checks coming in. I know.
It's like I looked at the last residual check I got for the Girls Against Girls book because it's one of 2 books out of the 13 I've written that I get royalties for. And it was like, I think it was like $5. And I think my agent just stopped talking to me because I'm not getting any new stuff to her.
I know.
It's just a lot.
Well, I feel I feel like, oh my God, I spent so long on Third Eye writing it. I mean, it was like a 4-year process. But I wrote a graphic novel in that time. And I did a lot of other things in my life that I needed to do. And of course, I feel like, oh my gosh, you don't have something big coming out next year. But, I have something in 2025, and I have
You know what,
two
though? A lot
projects
of
I just
people-
have to make time for to
A
write,
lot of
and it'll
people
be
were
done.
feeling that kind of like, I don't want to call it FOMO, but it was like this weird thing where as soon as the strikes were over, everyone's like, oh my God, I couldn't talk about this, but now I can promote it. And David Blue,
Oh,
who's a
yeah.
friend of ours, he's a actor, great guy. He was like, I don't have anything to promote, and I feel like a loser. And I'm like, I'm the same way.
My
like, I
friend
don't have
Tom
anything
Link
to
and I
promote
talked
either.
about it in the latest undressing that's going to go up in a couple days. Like, it's
Oh, yay.
100%. We had the same feeling, like, oh, we didn't have anything that was delayed.
You did. You had Third Eye. You have an award-winning
I mean, yes.
Third Eye.
Hopefully it
which,
will
by the
win
way,
some
my
awards.
parents asked about. My parents
Really?
saw an ad on Audible. I guess that
Yeah, Audible has been
showed
amazing
an-
promoting it within Audible for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, my dad doesn't listen to audiobooks though, but I don't know how they even saw it. It must have been on TV or something.
that's
They're
so
like,
cool.
we saw your friend Felicia's new TV show. Like, they don't know what it is. I was like, what is it?
I mean,
And they're
not
like,
many
Third
people know what it
Eye.
is. It's true.
No. I mean, they're boomers, so they're like, still trying to figure out tech.
Yeah.
So they're just, they wanted me to tell you that they're very proud of you, and
Thank
they're very
you,
excited
Bonnie's
to listen.
parents. That's so sweet.
That's huge, by the way, because they don't even do that for me. Though they did find my RIP at the rodeo Hunt-A-Killer game that I wrote, and then a bunch of all the other Hunt-A-Killer games I wrote before they laid me off. They're all on shelves in Target and Walmart now. So like, anytime my stepmom sees them, she takes a picture and texts it to me, and then tells everyone in the aisle that her daughter wrote the game.
Oh,
And
wow. That's really sweet. I mean,
So sweet.
my mom got out of a traffic ticket by telling them they were,
Did she really?
I don't want to talk about it. Anyway,
Did she? Can I do that?
we should
I don't have a car.
talk
Anyway, I guess
about-
we should talk about the book. Should we talk about the book?
yeah, so we are discussing a book. It is the book club, Felicitation Book Club, although we do gab a lot, because I love Bonnie and I want to catch up with her. But Gundog is the book that we read this month, and it is by, full disclosure, I got these for free because my friend Gary Whitta wrote it. And if you are
Well,
familiar,
I bought mine. It was ink shares, yeah?
it was Inkshires. I am so sorry, Bonnie. I meant to give you one of these. I owe you
Oh, it's
money.
okay. I don't care. That's fine.
But
I consider it's like friendship karma. So like, if I buy a book of a friend, hopefully the universe will then make my next book be good enough for friends to buy.
I mean, I love this book, and I'm going to read the description of it. I love the cover art, and my friend Gary, if you are familiar with my Twitch streams, is a friend of mine. He not only is a friend, but Gary Whitta is best known for Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, The Book of Eli. He's written for Star Wars Rebels. He's consulted with Telltale Games. He wrote first novel, Abomination, which I really loved. It was printed. He has written Batman Fortress for DC Comics. So he's amazing and a great writer. I wish we have a writing project that I hope, knock on wood, might get made at some point. And
Gary's in the chat. Gary's entered the chat. We love you, Gary.
Gary, we're talking about you. How awkward.
Yeah, we are. We're gushing about you. You came in right at the right time because you missed all of our my ADHD TED Talk.
Yeah.
So you missed that.
So anyway, we're reading Gundog to support him, but also because I had already read it and I was like, I think people are going to love this. And
That's awesome.
So I'm going to read the description. In the near future, Earth has been conquered by a race of brutal alien machines known as the Mech, and an entire generation has grown up under their oppressive rule. When Dakota Bregman, a rebellious young woman imprisoned in a Mech labor camp, stumbles also across a mysterious map that may hold the secrets to humanity's liberation, she escapes and embarks upon a dangerous odyssey across an alien-occupied America that leads her to an amazing discovery, a long-lost prototype war machine known as a Gundog. Created by the last defenders of Earth, it has laid dormant for decades, hidden away, waiting for someone to wake it up. Now Dakota must confront a legacy she never knew she had and embrace the warrior she was meant to be, facing down impossible odds and an overwhelmingly superior enemy in the hope of sparking a new flame of human resistance.
Ta-da.
So this is, spoiler alert, it is a science fiction novel that has mechs in
We
it.
will be spoiling it by talking about it. So if you haven't read it, you don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell people to leave, but at the same time, we will have this whole thing later will be posted on Felicia's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So you can also
so
come
you
back
can
and watch it.
So anyway, so
Yeah.
tell me, Bonnie,
Yes.
it's awkward with Gary. There's only one more thing worse than people talking about you, and that's people not talking about you. So we have Gary, the author, in chat. So as we rip this book, a new butthole, it's going to be super awkward. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, at least we liked it. It would be awkward if we didn't like it, right? It would be awkward if we were like, what a book of trash.
I would not
Hi,
have
Gary.
picked. I would not have picked this book for our book club had I not thought
Well,
that
I
everybody
have
would
been
love
known.
it. So
Yeah, but I've been known to like in our other book club, Vaginal Fantasy Romance Book Club that we did forever.
oh yeah.
I would like bring up stuff I hadn't quite like. I'd read one story. Like I don't know if Cthulhu Erotica is still very PTSD for you, but
Oh, shudder. We read some doozies.
or like the other, or the Taken by T-Rex, which was also dinosaur erotica.
Oh,
It was on like a
God.
weird monster erotica thing. And I did I think when we were doing individual book review videos, I did one with a puppet, a dinosaur puppet. But here's the thing, like I feel like we're all creators, we're all authors. We know that there's gonna be negative with the plus. You're never gonna do a 10-star, 5-star full book without somebody saying they hate it. But here's the thing, I loved it. And also I like Gary's other stuff. Now I want him to just write a lot of books because he's so good at screenwriting, and he's I feel like a kinship to him because he was the editor at PC Gamer and I started as a tech and entertainment
Did you know
journalist.
him when he was
So
at PC Gamer?
I did. Well, I was working for the Net. I'm gonna list all the magazines that don't exist anymore that I was working for at the time. I was writing for Boing Boing when it was a print
That's
zine because I went to
wild.
college.
That's
I went to college
wild.
with Mark and Carla before they even had kids, so I was on that. And then I wrote for like Mondo 2000 and I don't know, maybe 2600. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff like that. And then Wired. I started at Wired. I was one of the first freelance writers there. So
That's amazing.
We kind of like, and Yahoo Internet Life. I wrote for them a lot. So we kind of intersected in weird ways. I'm sure I saw him at Macworld. I'm sure I saw him at like, all the tech conventions or whatever. But I always like seeing my fellow journalists move into fiction and move into film and TV and, gaming and books and comics. Cargill's another one he was a movie reviewer. He wrote, now he's writing, Black Phone, Sinister. He's part of Scott Derrickson's crew. So I always love to see my fellow journalists move over in that area. But also you can kind of tell in this book and everything that Gary does, he is very tech savvy. He is very smart, but he's also very witty. I mean, full disclosure,
I mean,
he's not American.
having written with Gary, we did an outline together, and
I didn't
we have
know
a
that.
wonderful movie script that I'm hoping that gets made at some point. But I just am like, wow, how do you work so fast, and why is this so easy for you, sir? So I am jealous because I'll never have the facile, vomiting out perfection that Gary does. But I will say that this felt like a movie that needed to be happening.
I was just saying the same thing. I was just thinking the same thing. And when I was looking at other reviews, because I was curious what other people were saying, I would say probably 85% of the positive reviews, even the negative reviews, were saying this would make a great movie. This would make a great TV show.
And
So get on that,
what was
Gary.
it about it, Bonnie? Do you think? What do you think it was about this that made it so? Was it? I think it's just a visual writing. You're really picturing things, but also, it just. I guess the narrative was very like. Sometimes you're really internal in a character, and you're like, oh wow, I don't know if I see that because you've been in the character's mind a lot. This was a very active, very energy forward book, and so it's a lot of like action, and good character moments, but not like internal brooding, which is what I tend to do when I'm writing.
Brooding?
So like it felt very cinematic in that it just kind of painted itself as a movie here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I like all kinds of books fiction wise, as far as writing styles, and I tend to be a little bit more drawn to ones that could easily be TV or movies. Same with comics. I mean, comics are obviously more visual form of storytelling, but I think with this, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I'm a huge mecha fan. I'm a huge a mech fan, kaiju fan. I love Pacific Rim. I liked Pacific Rim the sequel. Like I like stuff like that. I like anything that's I like anything where a girl is like in a dire situation, gets herself out of it, and then becomes a warrior. I like anything where the mom's a warrior. I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. I mean Wonder Woman sequel movie aside, by the way, I liked the Wonder Woman sequel. I just wish it just was her as a kid. Just show her as a kid. Or just show Linda Carter's character, who was a character.
Well, they're supposed to be doing a TV show, like, right? About.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Because Wonder Woman 2 it failed so horribly that I think. And also Patty Jenkins got the rug ripped out from under her from Lucasfilm and Disney because she's supposed to be doing a Star Wars thing.
And I know. What happened? She's incredible. It just.
I don't work at Lucasfilm anymore. I wish I had the inside tea, but I do know from being there a decade that it's really hard to kind of get stuff done. And when I was there, George was in charge. So all you had to do was impress him.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you have the story group, then you have Disney, now you have Bob Iger's back, and then you have Kathy Kennedy, who's got her own ideas.
It's a lot of people.
Last chefs.
I gotta
which I'm
say,
sure
the more
Gary knows
people,
firsthand.
yeah, the more people in the IP bin, the less effective.
I mean,
the
and I feel
storytelling,
bad.
think.
I feel bad bringing up that because I know Gary, you did such a good job on Star Wars stuff, and I know they kind of screwed you over, and I was just so mad at that happening. But at the same time, it's like, welcome to doing Star Wars.
I think when you work at that level in Hollywood, it is just really tough, and you got to just take the punches, and that's why I can't. I'm like, I admire anybody who's a writer in Hollywood because you get amazing opportunities, but like how that's much of your stuff ever makes it to the screen. And so,
I mean,
like,
at least you're
as a writer, you get to do your own thing. Yeah. So,
but also you can create buzz from a book like this. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, Gary doesn't need this because he's already famous and talented, but if you want to like break into TV and movies, or at least get someone to want to have a meeting with you. Yeah. And I don't mean don't write I'm not saying write a book so it becomes a movie. You need to write a book so it's a great book. But if it gets enough fanfare, you'll start to see people wanting to take meetings with you who then want to maybe option it.
Yeah.
And every time, and while I was reading this, I'm like, okay, who should be doing this? And I wish I didn't think that way, but I think because I
wanted to see Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh, like,
I know.
She would be amazing as Dakota.
I mean, I was thinking casting. I was thinking, okay, should this be a TV show? Should it be a limited series? Should it be a movie? Which network should have it? Like, I was already thinking marketing. But that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
That means you have a good
It definitely
story.
brings your imagination. So now, okay, so let's talk about a couple of the projects. Let's talk about a couple of the aspects of this.
Okay.
What did you think about the world building with the mechs? So basically, in this world, y'all, an alien force comes to Earth, and we think that they came in peace and that they were really friendly, and Earth started attacking them, and they had to take over. And that's what the people believe when we first start the book. Turns out a little bit different scenario happened. And this was like 100 years ago. I can't remember. It's a long time ago, like 80 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was enough time that people kind of forgot. And people are generally in these work camps. So under the rule of these mechanical alien beings with drones following people, keeping people in line, killing people when they're not conforming to their work needs. And then there are some rogue elements of humans between these camps, but really you can't survive out there because, of course, the drones and the machines can find you pretty easy. I mean, just with heat signatures and stuff like that. So, yeah, spoiler alert. We already talked about it, spoiler alert. I did not read the assignment.
If you're watching a book club discussion and don't expect spoilers, I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
so essentially, Dakota is our hero, and she's in one of these work camps with her brother, Sam, who has lost an arm and normally would have been killed, but she's so good at repairing things, which I thought was so badass and really fun as a character. Then she keeps him alive, kind of. And he used to be this warrior, but unfortunately, he's kind of a shell of his man. And that is kind of a core relationship that I really loved in the book. Her relationship with her brother, who kept her safe for so long, and now she's trying to keep him safe, but he's like fading from her because his spirit is broken. What was your favorite relationship in the book, Bonnie?
I mean, I did like that too. I mean, I have a brother. So it's like, anytime I see any kind of storyline with a brother, and we're only like, I think we're only a year and a half or less apart in age. So we were pretty bonded pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And also he's like Mr. Athlete. So like I wouldn't say he's a soldier, but he's got that kind of mindset. So
yeah.
I liked it. Also, I couldn't help, and maybe this is just because I'm a geek through and through, but I kept thinking, oh, he's missing an arm like Luke Skywalker. Like I just could not stop making connections to things I love and adore to this. But also, I do want to go back a little bit, though, to talk about the alien misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that was cool.
I was thinking about this the other day, too, because I love watching sci-fi. I love reading it, playing it game-wise, whatever. But I was kind of thinking a while back, what's probably the most accurate of what really would happen? And if it happened to us, like right now, right? Like right this second, if aliens invade, would it be like War of the Worlds? Would it be like, a Nope situation? Would it be like Arrival? Would it be like Signs? And I kept thinking, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think the most accurate would be Mars Attacks. Like basically they would come down and we would be jerks. We would be nice and then be jerks, and then we would probably fire on them. Most invasion movies, TV shows, we're scared and then we shoot, or we're shooting them before they even communicate. So I when I was reading this, I was like, yeah, they probably were peaceful, and we shot at them, and they marched, attacked us, and said, "Welcome to your new life as a slave labor." But misinformation can happen, and that was what we say 100 years before they got the truth. But then, I mean, the truth for us now gets like screwed up within 3 years.
Well,
so
within
like,
1 minute.
Imagine, right?
There is
like
no
I couldn't
truth.
imagine like if. Well, I mean, I don't want to be political, but like if there's like if someone's retelling what happened to us during COVID with Trump, I'd be real curious to see what that story is 100 years from now.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. So, and also it's like word of mouth, and also you learn your history from the people who won, not the people who lost. So, you don't really know. So I like the world building of this. I like too that she went on a journey. Love a good map story. Yeah. I don't know if it's the Goonies in me that will never die, but I love a good story that has a map and I'm going to go find stuff, or anything that's a quest, like Last of Us type quest, right?
Yeah.
Or something where you have to go somewhere to find the truth or to find a way to better your situation. So I really liked that world building a lot. I know there was some criticism by some people saying there wasn't enough description, there wasn't enough, whatever. But I kind of think, and no pressure, Gary, but this feels like a book one in a series. So I feel like you're
for
probably...
sure there was set up for a sequel, and
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm more of a dialogue person, so I don't need a Tolkien level description of everything. I'm more of like, I like witty banter, I like complex characters and really delving into characters. I don't need the whole planet figured out for me when I read a book.
Yeah.
I don't need a whole race of aliens figured out for me. In fact, sometimes I don't like it described at all. I want it in my own brain, how I decide how it's going to look. Or I like not knowing everything, because then there's some mystery and intrigue. If everything gets spoon-fed to you world building wise in the first chapter, I'm bored. Then I'm bored, because then I'm like, but I don't want to know everything right away. Like, I want to figure stuff out. So I liked the world building a lot. I liked the characters. I liked the character dynamics. I liked her. I liked that her mom was a warrior. Again,
which was
Wonder
very
Woman.
Cool.
I
also
stuff.
liked, and I was kind of like, oh no, what happened to him? What's his name? Fisk. So we got this kind of hunky guy who comes in.
He's like a mysterious stranger.
And blows her world up. Falk. Sorry.
Falk. There you go.
I didn't sleep at all last night. We have 3 parts of a trilogy in my head. We will see, says Gary. Okay, so literally having the author...
Screen grab it. Screen grab it before Gary takes it off.
3 parts of a trilogy. So
accountability.
We have this guy who's like the hot guy who comes to town and blows up the main character's world and leads her on this quest to try to find these mechs. And I was for certain like, they're romantically involved.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get together.
Wait, how old is she?
They're going to break up. She's in her early 20s, I think.
Okay.
Or at least
so
that's what I felt.
Creepy. How old is he?
I mean, I don't think there was a huge age difference, but he had a lot of experience in busting out.
There doesn't need to be. It's just like, as long as he's not like,
Yeah. But anyway, so but here's the thing. He subverts everything.
Okay.
So like, this guy, Falk, just disappears halfway through the book and we don't see him. And I'm like, what happened to Falk? What happened? And Sam, her brother, is like a walking victim. And you're like, oh, he's going to die and give her some trauma. No, don't. He does not, So it's like, oh, how refreshing. And then we have this other character, Runyon, who comes in. And like, he's...
Great name.
I know. He's kind of introduced in the beginning, but you think he's going to be a bad guy or like have some kind of like nefarious undertone. Again, subverted. I was like, oh, this guy's cool. So it's pretty exciting to have all the character dynamics that I kind of thought I knew where they were going. And I was kind of like, I will say that I read the Fourth Wing sequel, Iron.
Oh.
And I wasn't as thrilled with it. And I don't know why.
We haven't read any of those books for this club, have we?
No, I will say that I absolutely adored Fourth Wing. And the second one, I was like, okay. I don't know. I can't seem to finish it. It's because I went. Well, it's also because I went and read the last page, and then I'm like spoiled for the whole. I really ruined my own journey on that book. I know.
do you always do that, or is that just you couldn't wait?
I couldn't wait. I don't know what happened, and then I was like, I don't want to read the rest of the book because I'm like, ugh.
I used to do that with Harry Potter books. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna find out who's dead first, then I'll go back.
I'm really not happy about my own. Yeah, it's really bad. But I was kind of frustrated with the main character. I don't know why. It kind of felt like the character was
You mean that other book or this book?
The other book.
The other book. Okay.
The other book felt like the character was being forced to plot point to plot point. Like I would be like, oh, this is the chapter about this, and this is that.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't really in her mind as much. And this one, I was totally along the ride for Dakota. I thought she was great.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you and I read so much that it's like, and also we're writers. So we don't just have reader brain and fan brain of whatever genre it is. We have writer brain. So we have author brain. So we're like, ugh. So when you read a book that isn't quite, I don't want to say quite gelling, because everyone's got their own writing style, and I don't assume or want everyone to write a book like I would write a book, because that would be weird. But at the same time, I have my pet peeves. I have my things that make me stop reading a book and put it away forever. There's certain things that I'm just like, can we not do really, like if
I will say, yes, there is a scene that lost me in this book, and it was it involved the other book, the Fourth Wing sequel. There's a torture scene, and I'm just gonna be general about it.
Is it animal torture or
no,
human?
it's a human, but it's still too. And I was like, no bueno. And for some reason, that got me thinking. Well, it started getting me picking the world apart. Where I was like, really, would this happen? Like, do I need to read this? So I don't know. I kind of felt like it kind of put me out of the book, in that it was only like. Anyway, let's not talk about that book. I'm spoiling people left and right on a book we haven't even read the first of.
I'll say this in general, which Gary did a great job for.
Yeah.
So what I'll say in general, I have a three trope rule.
Yeah.
If I read a book and I get to a third, like if you do one trope, fine. If you do a second, like by trope, I mean something that I'm going to really predict accurately what the whole chapter is about and how it's going to unfold.
Yeah.
If that happens more than 3 times before I get halfway through a book, I put it away.
Okay.
And the same thing with movies and TV shows. If I can say what's going to come out of the character's mouth exactly before they say it, I'm out, because it's template. It's not going to be exciting for me. I'll zone out. Also, again, my brain is like, blah, blah, blah. You need to like capture my brain and pay attention, or else I'm out. Yeah. So with this book, I was like, first of all, it's not boring. Mm-hmm. Second of all, it's got some like, basic trope, but not in a bad way. It's just stuff that's in sci-fi books, right? But
it felt comfortable but fresh at the same time.
And the tropes I was expecting twisted.
Yeah.
So I got twisty tropes, which sounds like a panty line. But anyway, I got my tropes twisted. No, I like that it was unexpected in many different spots. I was expecting something else. For me, that's like, oh, well, you performed a magic trick on me. I'm gonna keep reading. Mm-hmm. And also, I appreciate that you're not a lazy author, because you're writing stuff to keep me interested, but also not making typical stuff. And also, people don't necessarily write linear. So, we don't know how Gary wrote this book. I tried to watch a few interviews with him. I watched a really good interview that's on his YouTube channel with Maude Garrett. Mm-hmm. Maude Garrett does a great book club show as well as us. But, anyway, adjacently great. Mm-hmm. And she interviewed Gary about his writing process. It's a very fascinating interview. I highly recommend everyone go to Gary's YouTube page and watch it. But he was talking a little bit about, writing this book. And, every author has a different way of writing. So you can't expect, it to be linear. You can't expect it to be the same what you're used to reading. So I just like this book because it was fun. I didn't have to like memorize anything, which, let's be honest, in a lot of sci-fi and fantasy books, it's like I have to write like a chart. I have to write like who's related to who, like a whole Game of Thrones map/family chart. All the names sound too similar, like Shakespeare. So I have to like remember who everyone is. You didn't really have that problem here, because it was like, it was good world building. It was good, fun stuff, but it wasn't like, oh, I have to like I have to listen to a TED talk about robot building to understand that. No, you don't. And that's what I love about Gary's writing, is it's very accessible. Also, I thought it's accessible for someone maybe who's never read sci-fi might like.
I think so too. It's a really nice entry level, because you try to throw somebody into like an Ian Banks book and you're like, oh no. There is no way. Okay.
I mean,
Back it out. Beep, beep, beep. And so it's nice to have people. It's nice to have entry point. It's kind of like, with kids, you have to kind of open the door and not inundate. And
yeah.
like with my kid, I know that she's not going to be reading chapter books. She can't even really read yet, and she doesn't want to read.
I mean, not to get too personal, but is she reading sci-fi? Is she reading fantasy? Or is
She
she
doesn't read yet. She refuses to read with me. She's almost 7, and I'm resisting every temptation to push her to read. She's figuring it out at school. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to practice in front of me. I think she has she doesn't like doing things badly in front of her parents, and I don't know where she got that because I am the most accepting non-perfectionist. It's just one of
I was the same way. I was the same way, but also that's creator brain. Like she wants to do the best performance, right, for her mom. But also, do you read her adult books for bedtime stories?
Yeah, we read like an hour a day at least. So she does, and she also doesn't want to slow down and read a dumb Bob book where it's like, see, cat, run, when I'm reading her
I get it.
Very sophisticated books. So
yeah, but also that's where I got my love of reading was, and also I didn't get to choose the book. So my dad was reading me Michener westerns. I wasn't. There was no Tolkien. You know what I mean? So it's but I do think that you're right in that sense of, you want to create a book, you want to create a world, and yes, there's more books to come in this series. Thank you, Gary. But it's good to have a book that's not too crazy difficult to get into mentally, or something that's a little too complex, or a little. Some of those books too can be a little, I don't know, almost a little pompous, where I feel they're just trying to be the next Tolkien or Sanderson or whatever.
Yeah.
Whoever you read that's has our, Rothfuss or Scalzi or whatever. Scalzi's not a huge Tolkien. I mean, Scalzi's easy to read too, but I mean, I'm trying to think of books that I've read that I'm there's no way I'm gonna read all 18 books in this series. You know what I mean? There's no way I even understand the first book.
It's hard to be I'm going to embark on a 3-year journey with this author. And I love that, but that's not everybody's style.
Also, my attention span is of a goldfish. I have ADHD brain and I'm dyslexic. So if it's too hard to read in general for healthy mental people, imagine the rest of us trying to concentrate. So I didn't have any problem reading this. I didn't need the audiobook playing while I read it. I actually could pay attention to just basic reading like normal person. And I really got into it quickly, which I didn't expect myself to, because sometimes it takes a while for me to be immersed.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't want to put the book down.
No,
I want to just
great.
keep reading.
I mean, there's not a lot more to say. It's just a really fun book about mechs and a sci-fi world. And it reads like a movie. And we left off at a point where the rebellion in the world is pretty much going on, and there's power, and the humans have power a little bit now, but they're going to be having to fight off a lot of the mechs when they discover where they are. And there's very exciting.
Was there any part of the book that you were like, oh my God, this is awesome? Was there any part of the book where you're like,
I mean, there were some battles in there.
It's all great.
I will say that I read a lot of lit RPG, and battles are my favorite part. I know most people, and Gary definitely knows how to paint a picture of a fight in a book where you could see, things clashing, these machines bashing against each other. I really I loved all that part, because I like battles. I like things. I mean, I had a question about that, the AAA movies.
I had a question for you on this, because you're more of a gamer. I'm not a huge video gamer. I shouldn't say that. I like simulations. I like things where I can mentally, psychologically torture characters in Sims. That's a different level of psychosis. But I'm more of a tabletop, D&D, immersive murder mystery, escape room, box games, that type of thing. Do you think if you have gamer brain, you have a different way of writing when it comes to stuff like this than if you didn't have video game brain? Because you guys play video games all the time. I love when you guys play together, because it's so much fun to watch. But
yeah, I don't know if gaming and writing is. I certainly don't think that there's as much creativity as being a gamer. We're not inventing stuff. Although there's a different kind of creativity. It's more technical creativity. Yes. Yeah. Okay. World building. I think it gives you an advantage to be a gamer.
Character description.
I don't know, character and dialogue.
Battle?
Certainly, that's a different mindset.
Not dialogue. By the way, I do want to interject.
Maybe structure, could help you.
But also, we forgot to talk about a big part of this book was the AI thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which can be triggering to us all right now because a lot of us are getting replaced with AI, or we have weird things in our contracts that weren't there before with AI saying,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not great.
We're all we're basically on a Black Mirror episode, like current season Black Mirror,
I mean,
the Selma
listen,
Hayek one.
for me, like the minute that we start getting really legitimate AR, and I mean, there's the technology is there, and actors are literally being replaced by AI. And the minute it gets a little bit better, actors will be like, okay, we don't have her in the shot. We'll just, get the back of them animated because we don't have the shot. They're going to do it in a second. It's not.
Well, they do it already.
They
That's
do
a
it
sad
already.
thing. Like, I wrote 2 making of books for DreamWorks for their animated movies, Abominable and Spirit Untamed. And when I was talking to them, they're like, yeah, we use crowd shots from other movies in there. So they don't have voice actors. They don't have background actors. They just use, and video games do that too. So you'll be playing a video game. If it's the same company, same production group, sometimes they'll like put in some guy from Red Redemption into this, you know what I mean? Or they'll put some background person in there. And a lot of people do that in live action movies. You'll see, and they used to do it with mannequins in the old timey days, right? But then, but CGI came along, and CGI is very advanced, and it's very much been replacing, I would say, lower tier actors for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But now we've relabeled it with an AI kind of thing, which is different. AI is different than CGI. But AI now is going to this will be something we all talk about probably next year because the Animation Guild will go on strike for
It's a huge thing. Well, they are basically ready to replace animators.
But also the
AI.
gaming,
They can't wait.
The gaming industry doesn't really have that kind of, because I've been writing for gaming. There's no guild for that. I mean, I'm still trying to get in the Illuminati. That is the WGA, that's the Illuminati right now.
It's very, very hard to get in. Yeah.
It's very, very, very hard. But it's like,
I'm in, but I pay dues and I don't work in it. So.
Yeah, and also just, the whole point, like the mention of AI and how it's used in this book particularly, I thought was very interesting. But it was also like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know when aliens will invade. Like, I don't have a timeline in my brain where I'm like, yeah, that'll happen. But with AI, I have a pretty hard timeline. When I'm like, yeah,
invading
this is
like
advancing.
an alien, it's going to be in the next 10 years. I mean, for 5, probably. Like less.
I think it's, and also, as a creator, but also as a consumer of all these lovely things we review and love, that you have to vote with your dollar, but also, you're probably getting snuck AI stuff and not realizing it. So I don't know. I'm glad that Gary put this in here, but it's also like, it's a little triggering now because it's like before, when you read sci-fi, you're like, flying cars, we're not getting that anytime soon.
Yeah.
Or, like, oh, my cat can talk to me in French. That's not happening soon. But then AI, you're like, oops.
Gary Whitta said the scariest thing, if you listen to the audio version of Gundog, which stars a couple of very amazing actors, guys, the audio version of the AI sounds like Troy Baker. Well, it is Troy Baker. Gary, it is Troy
Baker. He has
Baker.
an audio experience of this book on his YouTube channel. So go to Gary.
Yeah, if you would like to listen to the book on YouTube, he has it fully performed, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah, so I can't wait for the sequel. Hopefully, knowing Gary, he wrote it in the last 2 months. Gary.
By the way, I have not seen Gary in person since we went. I think Veronica, our old co-host of Vaginal Fantasy Romance Book Club show, Veronica Belmont and I went pumpkin patch, whatever. I think it was like 2017. It was right before I moved to LA in 2018. And I saw Gary there and his lovely wife. And I was just like, Gary, we should hang out. Gary, I'm so glad that you're here, blah, blah, blah. And then I moved. So I'm sorry, Gary. Not that you would have hung out with me. I'm just assuming you would because I want to pretend I'm that cool. But I'm very glad that we got to review your book, and I'm very glad that you were here in chat to talk to fans and stuff, because I love this book. It was really fun, and I'm very excited to hear the sequel, read the sequel, but also to see what you do with it, and also to see your movie, hopefully with Felicia Day, or TV show, or whatever you guys are doing. You can't say what it is, but I like it.
He also says if you want to listen to the book on podcast services, so you can listen to this or read it wherever you get. So thank you, Gary. Thanks for letting us review it. Bonnie, you have decided to pick the book next month because I picked this one and the last one. What book are you contemplating picking?
I apologize because I think I sent you like screen grabs of like 15 books today saying, and then there's this one.
Yeah.
I think we decided on some of the like self-help books to do more next year because it's more like get your life in order kind of books.
I love that. And I like doing it before January because then we're feeling motivated. January comes, we don't feel
you do want to do one of those.
Yes, I think so.
I didn't know if you wanted to do this book instead, which is the history of crazy medical contraptions and quackery.
I mean, that's pretty great too. But
So,
I kind
but
of
we
want a
can also
self-help
do.
book because I
What
need
was the one that? Was there any in that? Here, let me look at my
get your
instant
stack out because
Oh my
honestly,
God.
I had a goal of writing something.
Okay. Well, I had one of the books that I think you liked
Yeah.
because I'm also reading a lot of ADHD books. The I Didn't Do the Thing Today, Letting Go of Productivity Guilt
Yeah.
by Madeline Dore is a good book, but also Extra Focus, the quick start guide to adult ADHD. Even if you don't have ADHD, it's kind of good to like learn about procrastination stuff. And then there's another book called Do the Easy Hard Things First and Easy's Crossed Out. It's the same guy who wrote How to Win Over Procrastination and Master the Habit. Oh, it's the same thing. So it's like how to do the hard things first, how to win over procrastination and master the habit of doing difficult work. That was one. And then I had a nonfiction book called Cursed
I'm
Objects.
looking at your text.
Yeah. I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can see in the background, my new roommate, that pillow, the skeleton pillow, the new body pillow. I have now like 15 skeletons in my apartment, but you can kind of see the TBRs. So
I kind of like I didn't do the thing today, letting go of productivity guilt, because that's a kind of a good way to end the year because a lot of people feel like failures when they end a year and they didn't do the 15 things they said they would. And I feel like if we can go into a new year with a sense of acceptance and realistic goals.
It's a good book to read too before you get in on that. Oh, I do have skeletons in my closet, just in case.
Like literal skeletons.
I think it's a good book to read also before you decide to do resolutions. I don't like doing resolutions because I feel like, oh, I'm just setting myself up for failure.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. Wait, Bonnie, let's talk about it later.
Oh, sorry.
Don't get into it.
Sorry.
You're ruining it.
Sorry. But it's a good book. It's a good book. So what did we decide? What's the name of the book again that we're deciding?
I Didn't Do the Thing Today, Letting Go of Productivity Guilt by Madeline Dore, or Dore. Probably Dore.
Perfect.
We're going to read that, and then we're going to go into the new year, loving ourselves a little bit more, not feeling ashamed, making some realistic goals about next year, and not kind of hamstringing ourselves for unrealistic expectations. And that's something I really need.
Also, can I just do a quick little piece of advice for any of those doing NaNoWriMo?
And then I got to go get my kid.
Yeah. Okay, so now if you're writing a book for NaNoWriMo, whatever, Gail Carriger, who's a book author that we read a lot, she's amazing. She's giving tips on her Twitter. I'm sure Gary's got tips too, but if you want to write a book, there's a lot of our fellow authors and friends that are giving tips out, so check that out. Also, you can find me on Night Shift. We're going to be doing some interviews with the Addams Family filmmakers doing some horror film stuff. I'm always here. I always try to check our Discord to talk to book club stuff, but you can always catch me on all my socials are Bonnie Girl right there. So whether you're on Twitter, X, Blue Sky, Hive, Mastodon, Threads, Insta, Facebook, MySpace, doesn't matter. I'm using that for everything. So you can find me there.
Yeah. What was it? Night Shift is it only on Twitch or is it a podcast as well?
Oh, it's YouTube. We do a live YouTube, but let me tell you, it's 3 ADHD girls, and it's Renee Ruin, who's like a cool rock star out of Australia, Jenna Hayes, who is a adult film star, and me, and we do 3-hour discussions about one movie, or we'll interview people, and it's mostly like indie genre, like A24, Neon, IFC Midnight, those types of horror films. But we also interview female filmmakers, film writers, and directors. So it's a good place to watch if you just love horror, or if you love to just watch a bunch of girls like me gab on a zillion tangents, but at least it's still in the same genre. So it's not as painful as it is probably here for everyone here when I go on tangents, but it's a fun show, and we're on YouTube, and I tweet about it all the time. So you can find out what our next show is. But I'm just glad I got to do this with you, Felicia, because I love you, and it's so much fun to hang out with you and talk about books.
It's amazing, and it gets me to really focus myself, which is my hardest thing lately. I'm so sorry. Well, thanks a lot, you guys. We will see you. Oh, we need to rate Adam, and then we will, if you're a podcast listener, please just keep subscribing. Spread word. See you later, guys. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye. Raid. And stop streaming.